Great ball over! What a header that was from Hamp!
Fifth time that Steph Horton's got her hands on that trophy. Second season running that she's done so in the colours of Manchester City.
Oh, lovely footwork there from Weir! A special goal in a special game from Caroline Weir. That is world class. That is outstanding. A worldie from Weir.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of MCW Fancast. I'm Emma, thanks for listening. This week I'm pleased to have Dave back with me from the OSC as we recap on recent results and look ahead to the weekend and the Manchester derby. Dave, how are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, you okay, Emma? Yeah, it's been a long week.
Long week? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it has been a long week. Obviously, we're here to discuss over recent performances, looking ahead to obviously Saturday and the Manchester derby. Man City women pretty much leading us into a false sense of security. Two very different fixtures at the academy, two very different results. The first, the 6-0 win against Leicester City to progress to the semi-final stages of the FA Cup. And the second, a 2-0 defeat against West Ham in the Women's Super League last Sunday. Points dropped for City. To add to what's been, it can only be described as a very frustrating start to our season campaign. Having had time now to reflect on the results, how are you feeling?
Well, I think let's take the Leicester game first of all. I think the Leicester game, considering the lineup was almost forced upon him. You know, we learned he couldn't play Alana Kennedy, he couldn't play Ruby Mace, plus the injuries. The revelation of Jill Scott at centre half was thrust upon the team, and you know it was a very tight game first half, and I don't think anyone expected us to run away with it second half the way we did. So the way we played second half, positive. You know, if you think back to last year when we played Leicester at the same stage, what a hard game that was. This was the opposite, really. I mean, I know they had a few players out as well to even it up. So yeah, I was really pleased, and like you say, it was like. It was a good pick-me-up after the Arsenal game to get back out and win heavily like that, put ourselves into the semi-final of a trophy that, you know, it's very special to us and we want to win it again. So coming away from that game, I was really confident and looking forward to Sunday. West Ham at home. A game, on paper, you would think, you know, with us being at home, you'd still fancy us. You know, but it didn't work out that way. And unfortunately, the performance was not good on Sunday. There's no getting away from it. We didn't play well. West Ham, I thought, had a good game plan. I thought they defended excellently. You know, they held on first half and then snatched a goal. Second half, I just didn't think we were good enough. I did not think that we played well. I've seen a lot of things on social media this week that have called out the manager, that have called out the players. I think there's a bit of both involved. I only put some of it to blame. When I saw the team, when I saw the lineup on Sunday before the game, I looked at the starting 11. Yes, we could have had more on the bench, obviously, in an ideal world. But when I looked at the starting 11, I thought, that's not a bad side. That's a good team. So I still fancied us to win. And I thought if they performed well, we could still win that game. So for everyone to have hauled Gareth over the coals over the team selection, I don't quite agree with, because when I saw the team, I thought it was strong and I thought we'd win. The only question I had in my mind is where was Jill Scott going to play in that team? I think I'd have been tempted to bring back in one of the defenders, maybe an Alana Kennedy or a Ruby Mace, and play Jill in midfield possibly, because I just believe that players should play in their proper positions if possible. I know it's not always possible, but so there's that. You know, there are things that you could lay at the manager's door for that, and I'm sure that he would have answers as to why he did that. But the performance of the team second half was not good. It's sort of like we got more and more frustrated. Yes, we had chances. We hit the post. We had a goal to set out offside, just maybe, you know. But the overall performance was disappointing, and it sort of set us back again after the Leicester game. I feel. I don't know how you feel, Emma, but I felt like the optimism we had after the Leicester game was instantly wiped out.
It was, and I think, you know, people were obviously after the Leicester result were feeling pretty good. You know, hopefully that would have given the squad a bit of a boost and to morale and confidence in terms of, you know, heading out at the academy against West Ham. Again, I think the first half played out pretty much in City's favour. It was very City dominated in terms of possession, in terms of opportunities, in terms of West Ham allowed us a lot of the ball, which is, pretty much how we like to play. But I just think, again, seem to be saying the same thing every week. We're wasteful. We make the wrong decision. There were almost times against West Ham where I thought that we were overthinking it. The players were sort of thinking about what they were doing and whether or not they should be, driving forward with the ball. I mean, like we saw with Jill against Leicester, she had an opportunity to go forward. She saw the space and she never set foot over the halfway line against West Ham. And everything was very tentative. There was no fluidity in terms of creating the opportunities. They almost didn't come natural to us. They were almost forced upon us. And it was just a really strange game to watch. And the players did look frustrated. I think obviously whatever's going on is reflecting in the players, especially at full time in the result. They looked really disappointed and frustrated. And I think for me, this time that we've got is a bit of a rarity in between obviously the West Ham game, United game, and the fact that obviously we would have been playing Champions League had we progressed. Chelsea and Arsenal have played this week. We're used to the quicker turnaround in games, and we've not had this week. This for me needs to be where the turning point needs to come. Gareth has got time to get these players out on the training pitch, work things out, whatever it is, have those conversations, and we need to see a difference come Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I think you're right about the players. Obviously, I mean, players are human beings, and they'll pile pressure on themselves. And I think, when they hadn't scored after half an hour against West Ham, the pressure, they'll be thinking in their own minds, is it going to happen again? It's going to happen again. Then West Ham snatch a goal, and football is a confidence thing as well. You could see again, physically, a bit like the Tottenham game when you could see the slump in the team almost. You could physically see it. And it was very similar to the Tottenham game in a lot of ways, actually. I thought the minute they scored, the game sort of changed. The feeling
heads went down.
Yeah, it did, and the fans as well.
The only person that responded was Alex. Everybody else just looked.
Yeah, I thought Alex played well. I thought, we stopped using Lauren Hemp on the wing, and you've got to use players like that. But I mean, you could feel it in the crowd as well, and it's natural because we're all thinking, oh no, not again, because we're not used to it, and the players aren't used to it. We've not had it's our worst ever run. I think historically, since they've turned professional, it's the worst run they've had now officially. So, they're not used to it, but you've got to pull together even more in these situations. You've got to fight for it. And yes, I've seen people say, oh, you can't use the injuries as an excuse. Well, okay, let's not use the word excuse, right? Let's use the word, but the injuries are a factor. There are 12 players that would be in his matchday squad that are not. So it's got to be a factor. It would be a factor for any team. You take 12 players out of Emma Hayes' Chelsea matchday squad, it would affect them. Same with Arsenal, same with United. It does affect them. It's an unbelievable injury crisis that City have got. But I still stand by, when I saw the team on Sunday, I honestly thought that there was enough on that pitch in the 11 to win the game. And I was wrong, because obviously there wasn't. And fair play to West Ham. They played well. They had a game plan. They stuck to it. They dug in. They defended excellently. The goalkeeper. It's funny that our goalkeepers seem to have a worldie against us every single week. They all seem to have their performance of the season against us. And I thought she was excellent again on
Mackenzie Arnold. She was outstanding. I mean, every shot that City had, she matched it, and she wasn't very good at handling the ball. I didn't think, a lot of it obviously was saves, and we weren't sort of pouncing on a rebound, or we weren't sort of reading the game well. I mean, that happened a few times in the game. How many corners are we gonna have to take until we get something?
I'm not sure how many we had, but it was getting towards 20, wasn't it? It must have been. There so many
figures. I think after the top of my head, I think it was around 13.
Well, I mean, you should be working something from them and varying them a little bit and stuff. I mean, there are good factors. As you said, a week off can only be a good thing. I think with people like, say, if you take, for instance, Kayla Walsh, she could only play half the game. She's coming back from a long, from an injury. It's great to see her back. She's so important to what City do. Whether everybody's fit or not, Kira is important to the way City plays. She has been for a number of years, as you know. So this week off, I'm hoping means that, Kira's got another full week of training under her belt. And we might get a full game out of her on Saturday, which makes a big difference because she's such a player. So the week off, as you say, it is very rare we get weeks off like this. So yeah, you've got to turn that into a positive, and it could well be, because you never know. We might get an extra surprise on Saturday. We might have someone else back. You never know, do you? We need everybody to be that is fit to stay fit. I mean, we lost. I thought Vicky Lasada played well against Leicester. She scored a great goal, and then we lost her for Sunday. It's unbelievable. Every time we get a slight knock, they're missing a game. And, that is a factor. And I do feel sorry for both the team and Gareth and us as fans that keeps happening. But you've got to get on with it. You've got to get on with it, and you've got to play better than we played last Sunday.
You've got to find a way. I mean, take the, games that we've had in the past where, we've come from behind and found a way to win.
Yeah. Definitely. If you think back to last season, there was a number of games. I know we weren't in the grounds, but we were all watching the games, and there was a number of games where we didn't play too well. Second half of the season, Arsenal at home, Everton at home, Reading at home, and we managed to get goals. Now, yes, we had players who were missing at the moment, such as Chloe Kelly, players who've left us like Sam Mewis. But you've got to get on. We've bought players. I mean, I've seen people saying he didn't use the transfer window well. Well, he did buy 5 players. I don't remember everyone complaining when we bought them. Rasso and Bunny Shaw and Vicky Lasada. I mean, Vicky Lasada is a top class player. So I didn't hear people complaining last season when we were going for the title and winning the FA Cup that he was such a bad manager. So has he look, I'm not saying he is or he isn't. I'm just saying I'm not qualified to say that. But, has he become a bad manager in 4 weeks? Personally, I don't think so. But he's made mistakes. But who hasn't?
Let's not forget, Dave, that Gareth Taylor is supported by a backroom staff that have been with this team for a long time. I mean, this is, from Nick Cushion and beyond. Alan Mann plays a huge part in this team and how the team is managed. So I can't necessarily lay it at Gareth's door. It's frustrating. I'm not ready. I know obviously there are disgruntled fans, frustrated fans. I understand that completely, but you've got to sort of look beyond the manager at this point. We had a lull under Nick, and we came back from that. All right, there's more games lost here in this situation, which, as City fans, we're not used to. But it's how we respond.
Well, long-term City fans like myself will know. We've seen it with the men's team many years ago. You chop and change your manager every time you have one of these runs. I think City went through 7 in about 2 seasons once, and we ended up in the 3rd division. It's not always the answer, because then you have to start again. And as you've just said, Emma, the backroom staff is massive. I mean, if you change the manager and you brought someone in, say next week, you would have to probably change the whole backroom staff, and they're all starting again from scratch midway through a season. So there are a lot of variables to take into account if you change the manager. I personally don't think we're at that point yet. That is just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people may disagree with me, and they're entitled to do that. I think some of it, people say, well, he's lost the dressing room. I've not seen any evidence of that. If he has, then I'm sure players will play for themselves, play for the fans, play for the club, if that was the case, because they wouldn't want to lose. They don't want to get beat. This is on national telly on Saturday afternoon. They're not going to want to go out and make fools of themselves. They're going to want to win. These are professional international footballers. They're going to want to win the game.
This isn't a team of individuals either. This is a team that play for each other. And you can see that in the performances, because if they didn't care, you wouldn't see that emotion and that frustration coming through the performances.
I agree. As you say, they looked really devastated on Sunday. They looked like it really hurt. I mean, I saw Demi. Demi made a mistake in the last minute. I've got to be honest with you, Emma. I don't think it made much difference. You know, it was literally the last kick of the game. We'd have lost 1-0, wouldn't we, rather than 2. You know, she made a mistake. Those sort of things happen.
Tired. Look, she ran her socks off the whole game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
thought Demi had a decent game, actually, and it was unfortunate, that mistake at the end. Individual errors aren't the issue, are they? I mean, she made a mistake and they scored from it, a good goal. It didn't really affect the game's result. I don't think we'd have got back up the pitch to score anyway. There wasn't time. More concerning to me was the performance in the second half, which seemed to wilt. It seemed to slowly wilt as the half went on. Yes, we had chances, but as you said before, there was not the belief and the desire that we've seen before many times, and we want to get it back. A week off is a good thing, and also maybe this fixture on Saturday is the perfect fixture. Maybe it just is the perfect fixture. For the first time, we're probably to the outside world going in as underdogs. People will fancy United because they played well, barring the Chelsea result. They've had an half-decent start. You know, so maybe it's the fixture. I think Gareth could right a lot of wrongs with how people feel if they go there on Saturday and win. It won't be easy, but, you know, we need to turn this corner. It needs to start now. I mean, if we're going to be realistic about it, it's going to be a tough call to say we're involved in a title race now because of the levels that Chelsea and Arsenal reach. They don't drop many points, as we know. In history would suggest that we're not going to be able to catch them this season if we won every game now, we know, because one of those two could go on unbeaten all season because they both look good. But there's third place to play for. There's 3 cups to play for. There's pride. You know, there's everything to play for. And then Saturday, you've got it's Derby. I don't care where anyone is in the league. I don't care, you know, who's playing well and who isn't. You want to win the Derby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's as simple as that.
It's about turning up in it at the end of the day. Yeah. I think, like you said, I mean, I kind of do feel the title might be beyond City at the moment, given the run of results. You know, we've seen obviously from last season, if you're even comparing it to last season, you know, how costly the draws came to be that we had at the start of the season. I feel like we're too far off the pace that's already been set by the other teams.
I think so, because of the top two, the quality. If you think about it though, Emma, in the last few years, we've seen both Chelsea and Arsenal have what I call a lull season. We saw, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, where Chelsea were really off the pace and finished third. And unfortunately, we weren't quite at it. And Arsenal picked and won the league, didn't they? I remember they beat Brighton on the last day to win it. I can't remember what season it was, but it was a few years ago. Last season, Arsenal were off the pace, and it was only a really late run that got them into third above United. You know, they hit a bit of form late on. Those teams have persevered through what you would consider to be a lull season, where they've haven't challenged for the title. Now it looks like it's our turn this season. It looks like even if we was to go unbeaten for the rest of this season, as we saw last year, we only lost 1 game, and it wasn't enough to win the title because the levels of the top team, it's a smaller league, it's a shorter season. Chelsea have already lost 1 game. They lost to Arsenal on the opening day. You know, you wouldn't bank on them losing many more. I mean, it's up to us to beat them when we play them. We've not got a good record at our place, and we play them, you know, both in the cup and the league, don't we, at home before Christmas? So, you know, you never know. But the levels of Chelsea and Arsenal, I would say, make them outright favourites for the title. Arsenal look great. Arsenal look really good this season. He's done a good job. The new manager's gone in. He's, you know, they look good. But this time last season, under the last manager, who'd done well up to that point, remember, he'd won the league, you know, all the Arsenal fans were going mad because they were off the pace.
Yeah.
Now they fought back and they got that 3rd place, and look at them now. So it's not the end of the world. There's the targets you aim for if things aren't going well. Yeah. He's putting it right.
Teams like West Ham, Tottenham, we were, you know, pretty confidently beaten last season. Do you kind of feel like it is a lack of confidence or decision making, I suppose, or is it a reflection on the teams that are in the WSL that are really starting to bridge the gap between the top 3, let's say?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of everything involved here. You have to say the injuries are a factor. So we've said that, and we'll put that to a side. Yes, we haven't played well. There's no choice about it. I think we played well in patches. I think we played well in like half a game. I thought we played well at Everton on the opening day in the first half, took our foot off the gas in the second. Well, that's okay when you're 3-0 up. You don't notice it the same. But I thought we did the same against Tottenham and West Ham as well, where we pretty decent first halves again. No one was complaining at half time against Spurs. We were 1-0 up. It should have been more. But we played pretty well. But second half, we were poor. So yes, the performances haven't been well. Yes, there's been individual errors if you think about the Arsenal game. But are the other teams getting better? Well, I can only comment on the teams I've seen, and West Ham and Spurs have both looked better than they did last season to me. And if you look at Spurs' record, what a great start they've had. What a fantastic start. Nobody thought that they'd be joint top of the league, unbeaten. They've won every game, I think.
Yeah.
Tottenham in the league. That's a great start for them. Nobody saw that coming. So, yes, I have to say that it looks like they have improved. West Ham, it was back to the wall stuff, but it was great. I mean, we have given West Ham some good hidings over the last few seasons, and they were defended really well Sunday. So maybe it is, but then there are other teams that we historically giving us tough games. The one I'm thinking of in my head is Reading, and yet they've not had a good start, and they're right down at the bottom. So maybe there's a little power shift in some of the teams that we consider to be the mid-table teams. Some have got better and have upped their game and are going towards the top of the table, and some of the more traditional teams, such as Reading and Birmingham, are slipping a little bit lower down, maybe.
Obviously, Ruby Mace, I can't put my finger on what's going on with Ruby Mace at the moment. Obviously, for some reason, overlooked. Not sure why. Not sure she's ready. I can't see that. Why that wouldn't be. Obviously, she's got experience in the WSL. She's obviously experienced in, as a centre back in a position that we're struggling to fill at the moment. What does she have to do to get a game, Dave?
Well, I mean, obviously that ridiculous rule that everyone was made aware of in the FA Cup, a few days before the game, realised, that they couldn't play Alana or Ruby in it because their teams were still. They seem to make that up as they go along with FA Cup rules. I mean, you should have it be cup tied or you're not. I know Leicester had the same. I know Abby McManus couldn't play for them, and there was all sorts going on, wasn't there, with it. But then on Sunday, I honestly believed that Alana Kennedy or Ruby would start and Jill would maybe slot into midfield. That was what I was thinking going to the game would happen. It didn't happen, and Jill continued at centre half. Now, as I said earlier, I'd like to see players play, if possible, in the proper position. And I would like to. I know Alana had a bad game at Arsenal. She didn't play well. I think by her own admission, she didn't play well. But there again, the whole team did play well. And Arsenal did, and they punished us. So I would like to have seen Alana or Ruby start on last Sunday, simply because it's their position. Plus, that would have had the added bonus for me of having one of the best midfielders in the division playing in midfield. So that when Kira went off, you would have had Jill there.
But Jill Scott, is there anything that she can't do?
No, well, I say she can make a decent cup of coffee as well. So, I mean, Jill's Jill, isn't she? She's just what you see is what you get. I mean, she never gives less than 100%. She's always been there. Ever since the team turned professional, Jill's been there doing a fantastic job. She was brilliant against Leicester. Yeah, she probably found it hard. She's never played central defender before. I would imagine people like Alex and Demi and who were always talking and shouting, and Janine telling her when to go, when to stay, because it's not a natural game. That's why I would have preferred her in midfield with a natural defender alongside Alex. Personally, you'd have to ask Gareth as to why he chose that. That's up to him. I'm sure it's on his head. But Jill Scott's fantastic. Yeah, she's been brilliant for us ever since day one.
Definitely.
I've not got a bad word to say about Jill.
I got to say though, there were a few occasions I did wince in horror, but just because it's Jill, do you know what I mean? But it, like I said, she's filled in. She's done a great job, and that's just a quality player that she is. She's prepared to do whatever she needs to do for the team.
You've got to be disciplined. If you're not a defender and you ask to go back and play in defence, a whole new ball game, literally, you've got to be very disciplined as well, haven't you, at the top level, because otherwise you'd be giving away penalties and free kicks left, right and centre, wouldn't you? So, I think you need a more experienced head back there if you're going to play out of position, so.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I'd like to see her in midfield, Jill. I'd like to see, I think she could, with the lack of Steph's experience in the side, I think Jill's experience could be a big factor. So I'd like to see her play in midfield with Kira. That would be, my ideal midfield for, with the wider players around them on Saturday. But that would mean putting, basically, if no one else is fit, you're going to have to look at Alana or Ruby to come in and play at the back then, which is probably what I'd do, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I ain't the manager.
We can sit here saying what we think we should do. It's not our choice, is it? Obviously, big game and probably even bigger now, obviously the derby on Saturday. Gareth says there's no pressure.
Well, there's
Okay,
always
Gareth.
pressure. Yeah. Hey, if we'd have both won every game going into it, there's always pressure in a derby. There's the pressure of the fact that it's a derby. The fans want to win it. It doesn't matter if you're bottom with no points and the other team are top and won every game, you still want to win the derby. You know, yes, there are 3 points at stake, or if it's a cup game, you know, you've got getting through to the next round, but it's a derby. That's what's on the fans' minds. You've got to win. It's bragging rights. It's, you know, it's your friends that you see and what have you, you know, on the other side. It's important to every fan. So, yeah, there is that pressure. And he's under pressure because the team aren't playing well. But he's got to say there's no pressure. He's trying to focus on the game. I want him to focus on the game. Treat it as a game of football, because that's what it is. But for everybody else around it, pressure. But that's why I was saying about Jill playing maybe a little bit of experience, a little bit of a calm in the storm sort of thing. That's what I think we need at the moment, some calm heads.
Yeah. What are you expecting from City come Saturday? How do you think Gareth will approach this game?
Well, I'm hoping first and foremost, as I said before, that Kira Walsh is fit to play, because I think if Kira Walsh is fit to play, that sort of shapes the whole setup of the team, because we would build a team around Kira, but that's nothing new. We've done that for a number of years, because Kira Walsh in a position for me is the best in the world. When she's fit, she's the best at what she does, certainly in this country and possibly the world. And she's one of the best players in that position for me. And we build the team around her. So I'm hoping that the week off, the fact she played half the game last week, a full week's training, that she's fit to play. So that's how I think Gareth will approach it. Are we due anyone else back, do you think? I don't think we are now, that we know of.
Not from obviously the last sort of press.
No,
again, we're recording on a
well, hopefully, I mean,
tomorrow, different.
That's it, yeah. Well, the one that's in my head, I'm hoping Vicky Lasada's fit. I'm hoping that hers isn't too bad an injury and she's fit, because that would then give us a little bit of mobility in the middle. You've got the possibility of Jill playing in the middle. So the decision that Gareth's got to make is who plays at the back, I would say. Who plays alongside Alex Greenwood? Personally, I want to see a defender there. But again, it could be dictated by who's fit and, you know, who's playing further forward. It's difficult. I know it's difficult. I mean, it's such a shame we've lost people like Esme, who are so versatile and could have played anywhere across that back line and things like that. On top of everybody else, I mean, you know, we've lost Esme recently. It's an amazing injury crisis. It's unbelievable, because it makes, you know, you sit down now, you're racking your brains. I'm really thinking about the team in my head here now, and you're thinking, well, there's only 2 or 3 options he's got at the back, really, without playing someone out of position again, which I don't want to do. So yeah, so how will he approach it? Like you said, I think he'll see who's got fit. He'll see who's got fit on Friday afternoon, yeah, and then he'll start to think about
it. And obviously we head to LSV, so we're playing away, which is, you know, not great, but it's expected to be a great game regardless. Obviously United yet to beat City. They'll be sort of thinking probably that they can get a result against us.
Yeah, I think to the outside world, the fact that they're at home, that they've only lost 1 game, we've lost a few, they'll go into it favourites for the first time probably. Maybe not with us. You know, we're always confident we can go and get results, but, you know, to everybody else, I would have think that they'll think they can get something, and probably rightly so. You know, if you look at the results and the way we've played recently. But I think that, as I said before, it's a derby. I think that all goes out the window. All that matters is when the whistle goes on Saturday. Last week doesn't matter on Saturday. We've got to, you know, you've got to just treat it in isolation, more so pretty much than any other league game, because it's a derby, and, you know, there'll be a lot of passion involved. And if we show passion and the players show the passion that's needed on a derby day, which they've done in the past, I think we can go there and get something, definitely. Don't see why not.
It was announced today as well that the away allocation for City fans is sold out, which is great.
I believe so, yeah. I know City had an allocation sent to them by United, and that's gone. I do believe there's some still on United's website, in the South Stand, which is the stand behind the goal, which is where we are. So whether or not they can buy in there and come across, or you'd be on the other side of it, but you'd certainly be in the same stand as the official away allocation. So yeah, it should be a good crowd. And I think the crowds across the whole WSL have been quite disappointing this season so far, for me personally. I think, you know, I think Saturday afternoons at 1:30, live on BBC One is a good time to get the game visible. I do think that's great. But these 6:45 Sunday night games, I don't think they're doing much for the crowd. They might be doing, it's probably doing well for visibility on the TV and people knowing more about the game by watching it on Sky. That's probably working, but certainly it doesn't seem to be working people through the turnstiles. I know Arsenal's crowd was down because their men's team had been at home when we played them the other week. Plus the fact we couldn't take as many because it's a Sunday night and people have got work and school, and so it's hard. It's a hard balancing act, isn't it? The bugbear of the old clashing with the men's games is something that we've had many times, and I hate that. I just wish they could iron that problem out and not play on the same day as the men's teams, or every team across the board. I'm talking here, but it's not possible, is it? So yeah, but it should be a highly watched game, I would think, live on national television. No men's team are playing, are they, this Saturday? There's no men's fixtures, so that should add to it. It's been well advertised on the TV. So yeah, it's good that women's football is so visible on a national TV channel on a Saturday afternoon. That's great. So let's put a show on for them.
Yeah, it's definitely strides in the right direction. Dave, I know you've got some information for fans that are making the trip to LSV.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll give people who are travelling on when we've got a coach going on, I'll give the coach details in a minute. But anyone that hasn't been before, United play at Leigh Sports Village, obviously in Leigh. I'll give you the address. It's Leigh Sports Village, Sale Way. That's SALE Way, Leigh, WN7 4JY. And obviously, I mean, from the Etihad, 45 minutes to an hour tops, probably, even allowing for a bit of traffic. Won't take you long at all. The only thing on the link from the tickets that City have sent us that links to United on parking information is that it's free around the ground, but it is, obviously there's only a certain amount. If you're in the east stand, which is the stand along the side, please park in the north car park. If you're in the south stand, which is the stand behind the goal, or the west stand, please park on the south car park, which is obviously, they're asking you to park in the car parks nearest to the stand you're going into, I think, just to make, less congestion for everybody. Yes, so that's the only real travel info. If anyone needs any other travel info, get in touch with us on Twitter and I'll sort you out. The OSC are running a free coach again for our members. It's full. It's leaving the Etihad Stadium blue car park, which is the usual one at the back, and near the gas onwards at 11 o'clock. We're just leaving a little bit early because a few people want to go and pick up tickets and stuff at the ticket office. So we're going to leave at 11. We should get you there around about 12, and then you've got an hour and a half to sort your tickets out and get in and get something to eat. Kick-off's half one, isn't it? So yeah, so 11 o'clock for all the members. Now, Jane, our secretary, will send an email out, probably, if not tonight, then tomorrow, just the details and everything in it for everyone that's already booked on the coach. I look forward to seeing you all, and let's go on Saturday and back the team as always. Can't wait.
Definitely, I want to say I'm looking forward to it, but
yeah,
things are at the minute.
I'm sure, like, people don't admit it. I mean, you ask United fans, they probably won't admit it, but you have that nerve before a derby. That's, because it's a derby, nobody wants to lose it. So there's that on top of everything else. And then there's the way we've been playing. But derbies have a tendency to shock you. I've seen men's derbies where City have gone into it in no form whatsoever and stuff them. And then there's been other times you think, City will beat them today, and then they haven't. So it all goes out the window a little bit on a derby. So it's the 90 minutes on the day.
So prediction wise,
I've got to go for a City win after saying that. So I'll say we'll turn it round and we'll beat them 3-1. Yeah, I'm gonna be confident. I can't go for anything other than a City win on Derby Day. I'll never be let back in the house. So.
And it's worth mentioning, obviously, we've been drawn against Chelsea at home. Rejoice in the semi-final of the FA Cup. It's nice to be drawn at home for once. I'm not rejoicing about the draw against who we're playing, but it's nice to be at home.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, I think we played them at home last time in the FA Cup. We don't seem to ever get them at home in the Conte. Do you remember the time when they scored the last-minute own goal and sent us to Wembley? But yeah, we've got it's Halloween, isn't it? It's the 31st of October, so we've got more or less a month. get ready for it, get some players back, but it'll be a tough one. It'll be a tough game, that, because Chelsea are playing well. I watched Chelsea the other night, though, and again, individual errors against Wolfsburg cost them. So we're not the only team making individual errors. I see Emma Hayes commented, didn't she, again, that it was City and Chelsea again. We've never met in a final.
No, that's it. Like I kind of wish we'd had the stage. If we were going to progress, hopefully meet you in the final. I think it's a tie that's deserving of being on centre stage.
I saw Rich Laverty's put that.
I kind of feel like obviously I just think back to the Conti Cup, where it went to extra time, and that was pretty heartbreaking. So it'd be great if we can do something different in the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they've not got a good record, have they, in terms of wins at the Academy Stadium. They beat us last year in the FA Cup after extra time, as you say. In the Conti Cup after extra time. They never beat us over 90 minutes yet at the Academy, so we need to keep that up. But I saw Rich Laverty say it's a strange phenomenon that basically the two teams that have dominated recent years in women's football, City and Chelsea, have won a lot of the trophies between the two of them, and yet they've never met in a final. It's quite strange, that, isn't it? We've met Arsenal a number of times. I think 3 Conti Cup finals have been against Arsenal, but FA Cup finals, no. We've played Birmingham, West Ham and Everton in the FA Cup final, so it's strange that we've never met Chelsea in a final, because we always seem to get them in the semi. This is about 5th or 6th time. It's unbelievable, but it is what it is. Like you say, at least it's at home. That's the main thing. And I look forward to that one. But let's worry about Saturday first.
Worry. Oh, nice word, Dave. Worry.
All right, let's deal with Saturday first. And we've got a game next week, haven't we, against Everton in the Conti Cup next Wednesday. So that's the start of our Conti Cup campaign. So it'll be nice if we can get that off to a winning start as well, which I'm sure if we win on Saturday, we can go into that with some confidence. It'll pick everybody up. That's the thing about Saturday. That's what I meant before, and I said it could be the perfect fixture, because if we do go there and win, I think it'll pick everybody up, and everyone will be a lot happier. But
I've kind of enjoyed our little Academy Stadium games under the lights. Isn't it nice to be back in the stadium in the middle of the week?
It's fantastic to be back.
That's 7 o'clock kickoff on Wednesday night against Everton.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, the results have not been good for us, have they, by the Leicester game and the Everton game, but it's been fantastic to be back, to see everybody, to sing the songs, and just be back doing, having match days again. It is great. Now we just need the team to, pick up and start winning some games again, because as you said before, we're not used to it. So, but, I think backing the team is the important thing at the moment. Backing the team and not letting them know that we're there. They
definitely need the fans behind them, regardless. We've got some tough games coming up as well. Like you said, we've got Chelsea at the end of the month in the FA Cup, and I think we would all love to have that day out at Wembley. So, there's plenty to play for, and it's an important time for the club, and as fans, we've got a part to play too.
Definitely. You can't change the games that have gone, but we can start on Saturday. We can start on Saturday by putting in a performance, and I'm sure the fans will back them to the hilt on that. I know I will, and I know you will. So we all will. It's because we're just not used to this sort of thing happening. I mean, the unprecedented injuries and the bad results, but it could all change on Saturday. Fingers crossed.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you on Saturday.
I'll see you Saturday, Emma. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Thanks, Dave. Bye. And that's it for this week's episode of MCW Fancast. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you're unable to attend Saturday's game, it will be available to watch live on BBC One. Thanks to Dave for joining me on this week's show. We'll be back next Friday. Don't forget, if you're not already, make sure you're following us on social media at MCW Fancast on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll see you next week.